We are Legally Sis. Welcome to our podcast.
The information provided in the show is for general informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal advice on any subject matter. No attorney-client relationship is created between you and Duran and Duran Schultz Law.
Hi, we are Legally Sis. I'm Attorney March, and in this episode, we will be having a guest. So we will be discussing about recruitment, or particularly the business or the setup of a private employment agency. To discuss this topic, we have invited Attorney Sarah Taddy of Duran and Duran Schultz Law to discuss about the intricacies of this business. Attorney Sarah, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do at Duran and Duran Schultz Law?
Hi, I'm Attorney Sarah Taddy. So I've been part of Duran and Duran Schultz Law for 3 years now, and I am in charge with special licenses like PEA license and DOLE 174. So I cater clients who want to engage in those kind of business.
Okay. After the pandemic, people have seen surge of people looking for work. I think in the research, it showed that there is about 2.1 million Filipinos that are now looking for work. So if you're an ordinary one, where do you think Filipinos would look for when they look for a job?
They have option. First option is they could have directly go to the companies to give their resumes or file it online. However, there's another option which is practical and easier for them, is that they go to online platforms that helps them to seek jobs and they connect them to their employers. Example of such is JobStreet. So they could just put their resume there and JobStreet will look for an employer for them.
Yeah, there has been a lot of startups that I have seen recently that has put up online platforms.
Yes.
JobStreet has been there for a long period of time,
Yes.
but I've seen also Indeed, LinkedIn.
Yes.
I've seen Boss Jobs. We are not affiliated with any of these companies, but whenever we seek new employees, we would ask them, where did you find us? So what would be the benefit if you would go to an online platform versus doing it yourself and finding a job one by one, particularly targeting those companies that you'd want to work for?
Well, first, you will not be physically exhausted. You don't have to directly physically go to the office of a different company just to put your resume. So, through the help of this online platform, you get a lot of lists of employers who's looking for jobs. So you could just select, just give, and then if the other party, the employer, like your resume, easily can have unemployment.
I think if these companies are already available online, there is a presumption that it is a legitimate business.
Yes.
But do you think that applies to all companies?
No.
No. Why do you think so?
Because again, it's not easy to engage in such business. There are special requirements, such as a license. So anyone cannot just put a platform, then, hi guys, we are looking for an employee and we have an employer for you. You need a valid license.
Okay, let's backtrack. So not anyone can put up an online platform. Not
Yes.
anyone can be a recruitment
Yes.
company. Why do you say so, and what would be the license that is needed to be able to do this?
First, our government want to protect our local employment. So, in order to protect, they have to regulate. So they issue license. This kind of license, we call it Private Employment Agency License. You can apply it with DOLE, Department of Labor and Employment. And then once you have it, you can now engage to recruitment and placement for local employment. Take note, this is only for local employment.
So it is a lookout of employees, I suppose, to ensure that they are these platforms are registered with DOLE?
Yes.
Or maybe on the other side of the coin, for those companies that are looking for employees, it would be their lookout to ensure that they are in partnership with a company that is already registered with a PEA.
Yes.
So if one wants to engage in the business of PEA, what are the requirements?
There are a lot of requirements, but I'm gonna give into the very important. So if you want to have a PEA license, you need to have a citizenship requirement. If it is a sole proprietorship, you must be a Filipino. If you are a partnership or a corporation, 75% must be owned and controlled by a resident Filipino citizen. Not just a Filipino citizen, but it must be a resident Filipino citizen. Also, we have a capital requirement. So if you are a sole proprietor, you need at least 1 million net worth. And if you are a partnership or a corporation, it must be a paid up capital of 1 million. Again, that 1 million, 75% must be owned by a resident Filipino citizen.
Okay. I have seen a lot of recruitment companies that are owned by foreigners. How do you think this tie into the regulation in the Philippines? How do you think they're able to do business?
There's a loophole because when you said PEA, it's only for local employment. So there's a Filipino looking for a local employment. But if that person is looking for an employment abroad, and you are connecting that person for an employer abroad, then even though you don't have a PEA license or you are owned by a foreign company, you can engage because this, as I said, PEA license is only for local employment.
We would have to qualify though, because if you are going outside of the Philippines physically,
That's a different
there's
story.
a different story, right? There's a whole lot of requirements under.
Yes, that's a different one.
Correct. But there are a lot of Filipinos, just like you said, maybe independent contractors or
Yes.
employment directly and working online.
Online.
And they can work for these foreign entities.
Yes.
Or they can go through a recruitment agency that is owned by foreigners, and then they will be connected to business owners that are outside of the country. So, if you want to set up a PEA entity, is it required that you are in the practice of HR?
Yes, it is my opinion that it is a yes. Because one of the requirements, if you see the checklist given by DOLE for PEA license, the company must appoint a management representative. That management representative, one of the qualification must be an HR manager. So they must be in an HR practice. Also, you are giving an employee to the employer. You must be able to have experience on how to designate who have good quality when it comes to work, right? You must have an HR practice area.
Actually, in our law firm, we have engaged several also PEA. We have partnered with several PEA agencies, primarily because it's difficult to find lawyers.
Yeah.
Like you, it's difficult to find paralegals. It's difficult to find really good secretaries. By the way, how did you find us?
Through Facebook.
Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
And I type looking for a law firm. Then there's this Facebook. I think it's during that time. It's a new app in Facebook that you can post.
Yes.
If you are looking for an employee or employer, just type. And then I put my resume and then you call me. Okay, I'm okay for interview.
Kudos to our HR department. But that's the benefit of having or being partnered with PEA, because these PEA agencies know what they're doing. Versus if you compare it to other companies that are not set up by an established PEA company or by someone without experience in the HR department, particularly recruitment, it's going to be harder, even longer for you to be able to hire the right candidate.
Yes.
Also, I've seen in their contracts that they are willing to replace
Yes.
the employee.
Employees.
Right? Because they charge a fee. These employment agencies would charge a fee to be able to get the right candidate for you. So when they do that, they have service
charge.
Versus if you do it on your own, right? So if you are the employee looking for work, is there any fee that you think that you should be paying?
If it's the employee and I go to a PEA agency, I don't have to pay anything. That is under the law. Otherwise, there will be a violation. But the employer who is looking for an applicant or for an employee will have to pay something to the PEA agency. So they call it service fee.
You mentioned about violations. Are there violations if you do not follow the law, or what are these?
As I said a while ago, in order for you to engage in the business of recruitment and placement here in the Philippines, you must have a valid license. If you don't have a valid license, then you could be liable criminally for illegal recruitment. Also, it could be a violation of anti-trafficking law here in the Philippines. So that is why our government is protective when it comes to Filipinos working here in the Philippines or even in abroad. They have to look into that you are engaging to someone who has a valid license, because it is also for the protection.
Why do you think the government would want to put a special license in place to be able to do recruitment? Because other people would think recruitment, anyone can do this, right?
Because when it comes to liability, an example is if you are being abused by your employer, the kasambahay, you can report to your agency, and then the agency will have to look for another employer. And at the same time, they can assist you in filing the proper case before the court.
Okay, that's interesting because you mentioned kasambahay. So, are there any specific type of work that these PA agencies would cater to?
Yes, there are two. First is the kasambahay, domestic worker, and the second is industry worker. So industry worker is vaguely defined because it only that any person not engaged in domestic work.
Oh, okay. For example, these are the like us
Oh, as
lawyers,
lawyer,
right?
yeah, lawyers.
POs, because
Yes.
they have a lot of needs in new employees, so they can engage a PEA to do this for you. But in the same manner as you said, kasambahay, that would include drivers,
Yaya, you're cool.
Yes, you're right. Okay, that's nice. And like what you said, it protects the employees, particularly the kasambahay, who are unfortunately usually not educated
Yes.
and they don't know what is their right. So having a second person looking out for you through a PEA agency, that would be beneficial. And sometimes I've seen for the recruitment of kasambahay, they would even pay for their transportation and even for maybe a day or two of their housing if they are coming from the province and they are looking for work here in the metropole. Okay, for those that are convinced to set up or put up their own PEA or private employment agency, are there any fees that they need to pay?
Yes. So they have to pay, well, first is filing fee of 5,000 pesos. Also, the license fee of 15,000 pesos and a cash bond of 50,000 pesos.
Okay, it's not cheap too.
It's not cheap. You even need the capital requirement of 1 million.
Oh, yes,
So it's
you're
not cheap.
How long will it take you to get your license?
It's easy to get a license. As long as all the documents are present, you just submit it. They have 30 days to work on it. So maximum of 2 to 3 months, you already have a license.
So once you have the license, how long can you use it?
It is valid for 3 years.
Okay, and then you're required to have
Renew it 15 days prior to the expiration.
right. What are the requirements if you want to renew it?
Almost same as to what is the list for new application. They have the same list actually. The only thing that we have to take note is that they need some certification coming from DOLE. So that's an additional. But other than that, there's no significant changes as to the checklist.
Will there be special reports that you have to file when?
Yes. You have a PEA license. You have a monthly report of the list of people that you've given to the employer. So the employees that you've able to get work, you have to file it monthly, every first week of the month.
So if you have multiple branches, for example, you have one in Metro Manila and the other one is Cebu, are you required to have a license per branch?
Yes. Generally, you cannot have multiple license. It's prohibited. But you can apply for authority to operate a branch office. So, once you already have a license, you just get an authority to operate a branch. No need to secure another license because that's prohibited.
So what if there are changes in your business? For example, you change your address, you change your owner.
If there is a change as to the ownership or even in change of management representative, change of address, you have to immediately file a notice to DOLE. So they can issue a new certificate, especially if it's change of address. They will issue a new certificate in your behalf because they have to put your new address in the certificate.
Thank you, Attorney Sarah, for all the information that you've shared. For those that are wanting to engage in PEA business, is there any other information that you think they should know about?
Aside from the requirements given, the checklist that we have, there are also disqualifications. So there are lists of disqualifications under the law that prohibits any person or corporation partnership to engage in PEA. So one is that those who have pending cases with probable cause or conviction of illegal recruitment or even trafficking in persons, anti-child labor law violation, or crimes involving moral turpitude. A cooperative cannot engage in PEA. Or if any person, corporation, or partnership was already engaged in contracting or subcontracting, cannot engage in PEA. Also, law enforcers, officers, and employees of DOLE cannot engage in PEA. And also, those already have a license, I said a while ago, if there's a sole proprietor who is already have a license, he cannot get another license. But if he wants to get a do branch, he can have an authority to operate branch office. Also, those engaged in technical or vocational training, they cannot engage in PEA.
These are a lot of information. Thank you for sharing, Attorney Tali. Thank you for listening. Bye!